And here we go. Hello, everybody. How are you? It's me, Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells, coming to you live and in living color from inside the Tom Sorrells Broadcast Complex. Here we are, beautiful, scenic Southwest Orange County. Everything is good for us in Florida right now. We've got big trouble brewing in the Caribbean and bound for the Gulf of Mexico. Let me make sure we're doing everything right here. Wow, what a weird time to all of a sudden be talking about a storm that's going to rock and roll here in the coming days. And by rock and roll, I mean this sucker's going to blow up big time. Earlier today, they were talking about it being only a Category 2 storm. We never bought that. Didn't believe that for a moment. And now we're talking about a situation where this could be a major monster in the Gulf of Mexico by Wednesday into Thursday. I was talking about it earlier today. We're thinking maybe it could end up being a Category 3 or bigger storm. Take a look at it right now. Let me go ahead and show you what's happening. So I open up everything on my end here. You see that development right down there in the corner, right over here in the corner, right there. Hey, Rick Twos, thanks for tuning in. Everyone, thanks for doing it. Yeah, here we go again, Perry. You're correct. Big storm there. South of Cuba right now. This is going to be a huge rainmaker for Cuba. Grand Cayman, the Yucatan, all those areas are going to end up with big-time rainfall action in the next 24 hours. South side of Cuba, southwest Cuba, all in that zone. Where's it going? There's the path. There's the latest path of projected movement for the storm system itself. It's going north-northwest right now. Should become a tropical storm overnight tonight. Right now, they're finding winds of only 35 miles per hour. So what we're going to be dealing with here is a big change and a big push, rapid intensification once it does get to the Gulf of Mexico. There's nothing to really slow that sucker down once it gets in there. Let me take me out big, change what I'm showing you here for just a moment, give you an idea of what we're looking at as far as everything is concerned. Now, the activity here is impressive. All the tracks, the modeling we've been dealing with, I took this right out of Tropical Tidbits, Levi's page. There you go. You see all the tracks. They're all pretty doggone consistent, showing this thing is going to come just west of Cuba, right into the Gulf of Mexico, and draw a bead on the panhandle. My wife asked me earlier today where I thought it was going. That's where we think it's going. Now, let's be well heard also at this same time. Again, these models I took off of Levi's page, Tropical Tidbits. If you want to check that out, check it out. Got to give him credit because I didn't draw these. This is from Tropical Tidbits. So the activity goes right up in the Gulf and boom, right in the panhandle. That's disastrous. We've lived this before many times with Ivan, Michael. You remember it all. This is that kind of storm. It's going to be a Cat 3 at least. You just saw what they were talking about. They're calling it maybe a major storm by the time it makes landfall. Here's the Euro. The Euro is a little farther east. And so if you look at the Euro alone, I think the eye goes in a little farther east. This is the Euro based on where it would be Thursday afternoon. So, yeah, wobbles are possible until it wobbles to the left. And if it wobbles to the left, let's be honest. Any of that kind of talk, we've covered this before. So let me talk to you from the bottom of my hard rock eye. I don't want this sucker coming to Florida. I don't need it to hit Tampa. I don't need it to come inland and come across Orange County and peel my roof like Irma did back in 2016. Who needs that? Nobody. Yes, poor Mexico City and poor all that stuff. But the truth is, anytime I pray for it to go west, that's just prayer against prayer. Because if you're from out west, if you live in the panhandle, that's where you're from, or that's where you're watching from, then we can't sit here and pray, oh my gosh, hope it goes west and blast the panhandle. I mean, come on. It's prayer against prayer. My buddy Rob over in Louisiana has dealt with more of these than I can count in the last several years, last 5 or 6 years of our careers together. He's been blasted a lot more than I have. I've been blasted bigger for the most part. He's been blasted more often. No, I'm not that nervous, man. I'm not. I really think the models are coming into line. Here's what they look like right now. Back to the models very quickly. Give you an idea of what we're staring at right there. All the models seem to be doing their thing. I'm going to take me out of this picture. I like this graphic a lot. This is from the University of Miami, the U, who all of a sudden, out of nowhere, are playing good football again. I don't like that. But I like this graphic. Shows the heat intensity. Look at that heat intensity there. South of Cuba, right in the area where this sucker is going to blow up. And then you see a trail, an eddy, a push-up, a loop of that warmth all the way up right into the Gulf where this storm is going to be going. In the last few weeks, storm after storm or low after low has kind of stirred it up out there, kind of cooled it down. Not now, not today. It's all intense right there, south of Cuba, super hot water, ready to blow this up. Okay, you're supposed to get here Thursday, here in Orlando. You may have a problem. You may not. OIA, if this thing goes far enough west, OIA will not close. If it goes far enough west. If our winds don't get up above 35 or 40 here, we can't. Well, Michelle, depends on where it goes. What will Eustace get? Forecasting this right now is kind of a sucker's game. It really, really is. We can forecast where we think it's going to go. You just saw all of that. Let's see what else do I have in here. Oh, yeah, there's a satellite shot of what it looks like right now. And here's that zone I was just talking about. So I think that's going to do it for that. Put me back up top. Hit escape on the slideshow and try to figure all that out. But the satellite shot itself looks impressive. Now, everybody asking me about Eustace. If this thing goes into the Gulf and goes far enough west, Eustace will end up with some rain and Winnie the Pooh's blustery day. I mean, how bad was Hurricane Debbie for you? Man, it wasn't. It wasn't. And the local TV stations, basically here in Orlando, my team over at Channel 6, my former team, still love them, still tied to them in my heart, just had, cut-ins, doing cut-ins, never had to go wall-to-wall. Over in the Gulf, I was in the storm, running it down there. We were on vacation in Anna Maria Island, and we saw their television stations go wall-to-wall coverage the whole time because we were getting inundated. We ended up with 17 inches of rain? That's the kind of rain this is going to be producing in the next day as it rolls past the Yucatan. 4 to 8 inches in spots over top of the Caymans. Some spots could get a foot. So it is moving on. It's moving forward. That's the good news. The bad news is, hey, there we go. You're into football tonight, double dose. My picks have been so bad that I'm not paying attention. And the Dolphins stunk it up last night as we talk about football here on Weather Time. So if you want to talk NFL, we can talk NFL, of course. We always do. But I want to make sure we're getting the word out that this big storm is developing. It's certainly going to happen. And happening for me at a weird time. My bride and I, Mitra, met during Hurricane Hugo back in 1989. 30-something years ago. 34 years ago? 34 years ago today, right? Yesterday. The Finns are having a tough run. We need a quarterback. I told you not to draft Tua. Nobody listened to me. Nobody listened to Tom because, But anyway, back to Hurricane Hugo. Hurricane Hugo was a big deal for us personally. Take a look at me. Ha! That's me from 1989. And I don't think you can hear me because we've got it turned down here. That's how bad I looked in 1989 forecasting hurricanes for WPDE in Florence, South Carolina. You can find this on YouTube. I want to show this for just a moment to show what's going on. 34 years ago, that's Dr. Bob Sheets right there in the corner. I'm interviewing him. He will go full screen in just a moment. And when he does, look at those graphics. Look at how bad those were. He's pointing with a pencil, and that's what we call the big egg that goes in. 1989, Dr. Bob Sheets and I were much younger, and our graphics were not great. Not great at all. Hey, Angie. Yeah, it was a busy night, a busy time. How are things in South Carolina? Better now, I know. Hey, so anyway, that's what Dr. Bob Sheets looked like in 1989. That's the back of my head. I got that jacket at Robbins Menswear. That was the first real good dress coat I ever had. Yeah. So anyway, enough of that. Enough of that looking back. Let's let Dr. Bob Sheets go and let's look at where we are now. Here's the storm system now. Out there south of Cuba for the moment. It's a potential tropical storm. It's going to be Hurricane Helene. Helene is a French name. Remember, all the hurricane names in this hemisphere are either English, Spanish, or French, because those are the three languages that are spoken in our Atlantic basin. They're affected the most. Look at that hair. Yeah, I had a lot of hair. I had a lot of hair. And big teeth. Same teeth. But yeah, it was a bunch. Those are good years. Anyway, the way we pronounce it in English is Helene. I think the French go Helene, Helene, something like that. I can't do the French accent. But anyway, because the Haitian people speak French, we use French. Everyone else speaks Spanish for the most part that gets hit by the hurricanes. English, French, or Spanish. There you go. This one is a French name. There you go. All right, so back to it. If you're just now tuning in, big trouble brewing in the Gulf of Mexico over the coming days. This is what the storm system looks like right now. Here's that path to projected movement. It is not a hurricane yet. Hurricane hunters are out there looking around, trying to figure out what's going on. Maximum winds they've been able to find are 35 miles per hour. There's the path of projected movement. But the activity with the storm system is only going to intensify rapidly in the coming days. I think it's going to end up being a big, huge, stinking problem for the Gulf of Mexico, mostly the panhandle as time wears on. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. Didn't mean to double up on me. There's me again in the corner. This is the Euro, and the Euro wobbles a little farther to the east. The ensemble models take it farther west. We'll wait and see what goes on. I really believe it will go a little farther to the west. You forgot your party favorites. Mad Dog said you share the day with Bruce to me. Oh, sorry, dude. Anyway, back to Hurricane Central here. That big low to the north, up there over the northern part of Louisiana or Arkansas, it's going to help draw this thing up to the north. Ridge to the east is blocking it. It's going to shoot the gap between the two. And as it does, it comes right up. Man, it's hard to say right now. It depends on where it goes. Storm surge in Reddington Beach could be 4 feet. Could be bigger than that. Could be 10 feet, 12 feet. Could be much bigger. In the Gulf, it could get crazy. Could get crazy if it gets big enough. So for now, that's what it looks like on the Euro. Here are the models themselves all together. Again, I got these from Tropical Tidbits. I did not draw these. But that gives you an idea of how the models are in agreement right now. Keep in mind the storm is going to develop a better eye. It's going to come racing through the straits. Over top of that hot, 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 hot water. And there's a lot of it out there. There's the hot water I was talking about earlier, south of Cuba, all the way over the Yucatan. The exact path our storm is going to take. Super hot water, well above normal. It's going to feed on that. It's going to intensify rapidly, and it's going to rock. It's going to peel all the way up to the north, by northwest for now, before turning northeast and coming back into Florida, into the Panhandle, where those models are pretty much in agreement. I do not expect them to wobble too far to the east. I'm hoping they build farther west for Florida's sake. But then what do? Because you're praying that it hits Mississippi, Alabama? No, I don't wish that on anybody. So I should do more TikTok. I should do that, Michael. Maybe tonight I'll do a TikTok. I can't figure a good way to go TikTok live, or I would. Also, if you can make Facebook change the name of this page to Talk to Tom, everyone would appreciate that. Everyone. My former station and me. Yeah, Facebook continues to not get back to us. They say my complaint is open and they'll get to me when they can. It's been elevated to the highest levels. We'll see. I'm waiting patiently. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. If you have any other questions, please log on. Leave me a question down there in the box, and I will certainly get back to you as fast as I can. I'm just going to sit here and answer people. Is what I'm going to do as we go into the night. One more time, this is what the system looks like right now. It is not super impressive right now, but it's going to go over hot water. It's going to have very little shear. It will hit some dry air. It will not dissipate. This thing's going to rage. This is the year I think that name goes away. I think Helene gets retired after this year because this one's going to be meteorologically big, and I'm hoping for very little loss of life. But with this kind of flooding, could be major flooding through the Caymans, through the Yucatan, through western Cuba, and then possible loss of life. And I just don't like to think about it. But it's going to be a big storm. I really believe in the Gulf. So there you go. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I will answer you. I'll be here tomorrow morning. I'm going to try to get on at 9 o'clock. I'll be here again tomorrow afternoon, I believe. Probably 4 o'clock in the evening to 5. And, we'll keep you posted. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves and each other. And make your plans now. You never know.